The Lemuria update is already on Live Realm. They took yesterday to just kind of get things ready. They didn't even drop test realm. I don't even think they opened it at all yesterday. And then today they just put it onto live servers. So you can log into the game now. You have to patch it, and then Lemuria will be here. There's a couple other, small updates like the quest book. I was looking at that. You can actually hide quests now, so that's nice. But yeah, a bunch of other small updates. And I kind of just wanted to go on this video to let people know that it's out and kind of give my review of Lemuria, because I haven't actually talked about that yet. We talked about it a little bit in the last episode, what I thought. Those were just kind of my initial thoughts once we finished the walkthrough. But yeah, I just want to kind of go over my final thoughts of Lemuria since test run is over. And a little late on it. I should have done it during test run, but I mean, the test run schedule was kind of weird, especially with Thanksgiving. But I want to show you guys Melinda Wu here, because on my life, I can actually go here and get like, what, 8 spells from Melinda Wu that are free, but they're PvP only. So if you see the symbol there in the middle of the card, that means that you can only use this in PvP. And I don't think there's a real reason for me to buy these. I mean, they're free, so you're not even buying them, but just have these in my spell book, because they're just going to clog it up. And I don't know if they're ever going to enable these for PvE or what, but for now it's just like, yeah, these are PvP only. I'd really like to see them have some kind of separate tab. I want a PvP tab and a PvE tab. Like, if you have spells that are only PvP and the only reason that they exist is to be used in PvP, then I feel like they should be in a separate tab. But I mean, that's just me being overly picky. But yeah, these are here, and I haven't talked about it yet because they are PvP only, so I just wanted to let people be aware of that. You can learn all of these new spells if you're level 120, and you can put them in your spellbook. You can use them in PvP, but not PvE. So that is a new thing that is on the live servers right now. So what I want to talk about is the Lemuria update, the Lemuria world as a whole. We hit level 150 on my storm during test realm. When we go ahead and start up the walkthrough on live realm, I'm going to be on my life wizard. And that's not going to start till next week, because I'm actually going on vacation later this week, so I will not be starting the walkthrough yet. You guys are going to have to wait until next week, but I mean, I don't feel like they made too many changes to Lemuria after the fact. I feel like it's mostly the same. They may have nerfed the final fight a little bit, but even that, they just fixed bugs and the fight is probably the same. I'm sure the same strategies apply. But Lemuria as a whole, so here's my review of the world. It's very fast. If you don't listen to dialogue, which I'm considering not listening to dialogue my second time through, just because we've already done that. I already know the story. Do I need to listen to it again? I don't know. But if I were to do a walkthrough with no dialogue, I feel like we would finish it extremely quickly. Like, I don't even know how many episodes it would be. But if I did like 30-minute episodes, I feel like we would finish it in like, 7 or 8 episodes. If I did hour-long episodes, half of that. So it's a very short world, and I think we got through it in, with dialogue in like, what was it, 9 or 10 hours, something like that. So not too long. So I hadn't played Wiz in like a week, and I was thinking back to the walkthrough, and I was like, okay, after the fact, what stood out to me from Lemuria? And honestly, I liked collecting the stones for each school and unlocking that door. I thought that was pretty cool. I like the world synthesizer. I thought that was interesting, because that's where you go when you go inside the Cabal door. I like that a lot. But the ending the ending doesn't really make too much sense. It doesn't really set up the next world at all. It's just kind of there. I don't even feel like it's that much of a cliffhanger, because I don't even really care. I'm not gonna say like exactly what the ending was, but to me it's not really a cliffhanger, and it's just kind of random, and it doesn't give us any hints or anything like that. It's just kind of there. So the ending isn't really that great to me. The dialogue throughout the world, there is a lot of dialogue, and I like some of the characters for sure. I like the superhero themes, and the areas aren't super unique. I mean, there's literally one area, Night Forest, that is exactly Dundara, so the areas aren't that unique, but they give a lot of personality with the dialogue, so I will say that. I feel like that was the intention, though. They wanted a dialogue-heavy world, not as much grindy quests. I mean, if they wanted the world to be longer, they could have just added way more collect quests, way more defeat, and way more bosses. In one of the areas, Sky City, I think there's only like 1 or 2 bosses in the whole area. So they didn't even really add that much to certain areas. Some areas have a lot of bosses, some have like none. Sky City was super quick area. I thought it would be longer. And then some areas, I think the Heap has a decent amount of bosses. Yeah, the Heap has a good amount of bosses, but they're not that difficult. I only died on 1 boss. And if you count the final boss, then I guess 2 bosses, I think. I died on the boss in Sky City, and then obviously the final boss, you kind of have to. That's kind of the strategy. But yeah, that's not too bad. The enemies do hit hard, so you're kind of rewarded for going fast and, you know, killing quickly. Like, that's kind of just how Wiz is. Like, if the enemies are going to hit me first turn, if they get a shadow for like 3,000, 4,000, then you're rewarded for going faster, for killing as fast as possible. That's why I go with the stats that I have, just all out damage, like barely any resist, because if you die in this game, it's not that bad. You just retry, you know. If you die, you just spawn back here in the commons, you pop one of your potions, and you dungeon recall if you can. Yeah, the world is not that difficult. People could probably solo it. I don't think you can solo the final boss. That seems very difficult. So they do what they've always done. They make the world decently easy. Like Caramel you could solo, and there's maybe some bosses that you couldn't solo in Caramel. The final fight is decently difficult, and they did the same thing with Lemuria. Like, it's soloable, it's not too difficult. Final fight, you're gonna need some help because it's intentionally made for multiple wizards to be in there. But other than that, like, it's just 1 fight. They don't really do dungeons anymore. I kind of miss that. If you think back to previous worlds, like especially Arc 1 worlds, there were dungeons throughout the quest lines, and they're kind of a big staple part. I wish Wiz would take the time to make dungeons again. Like, what happened? The only dungeons that they do are the dungeons that are side content, like the catacombs and stuff. But inside the worlds themselves, inside the main quest lines, they don't do dungeons. Like, imagine Dragonspire when they had, you know, the Labyrinth, the Great Spire. These are all dungeons. And they also had those gauntlets. They call it gauntlets, but it's just, you know, floors and floors of enemies. Yeah, that's kind of annoying, but it does make it unique, and it does stand out to you as you quest. They should have made some kind of Sky City dungeon in there where you actually had to, you know, go into the dungeon. It's going to take you a little bit of time, and it makes it more interesting. Then the story's kind of wrapped around that. There's bosses in there, and it's kind of separate with the sigil. So they didn't really do that in Lemuria. There isn't any dungeons, I don't think. Yeah, they have like the sigils where you go in, you defeat a boss, or defeat an enemy, then there's a boss at the end, kind of like the 3-tier mob boss system. They do have that, of course, but yeah, nothing else that's really too elaborate. If I had to give Lemuria a rating, I would give it a average rating, probably like 5 or 6 out of 10, because at the end of it, the world doesn't really stick out to me. If there were worlds past Lemuria, this is level 150 cap. If there were worlds past it, people would look at Lemuria as just a quick, easy world that they can go through and quest through in a couple hours, and then that's it. So I don't know how short it is compared to other worlds. If it's like Polaris length, I feel like it's shorter than Caramel if I had to compare the two, but it's probably one of the shorter worlds. I don't know if it's shorter than some of the Arc 1 worlds, maybe, but I would have to look at the actual quest line count. But yeah, it's not that long of a world, and you can get through it really quickly if you skip dialogue. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of Lemuria if you made your way through it on Test Realm. If you're running through it now, then, you know, let me know what you think of the world so far. I will be doing my life walkthrough next week sometime. We will start that. We'll get BlazeLifehammer up to level 150, get our new spell and all of that, and I'll decide if I want to do dialogue or not. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Like, can I handle the old one talking to me the entire time for hours on end? We'll see. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like on it. Enjoy Lemuria if you're questing. If you're not max level, there are some other nice updates that are on live room right now, like the quest. You can hide quests, you can organize quests. I think that's probably one of the better ones that I've seen from this recent patch. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Subscribe if you're new, like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.